Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive into all things fashion for 2024.
Yes.
We're using the State of Fashion 2024 report to guide us through this journey.
Yeah.
It's a really cool collaboration between the business of fashion and McKinsey and Company.
hmm
And honestly, it's jam-packed with insights. You ready to get stylishly informed?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So one thing that struck me right away was that the report doesn't shy away from the challenges facing the industry.
Right. It definitely acknowledges those.
Even though 2022 was a pretty booming year for fashion.
Oh, yeah. Double the economic profit of previous years.
So what's the catch? What's putting the
Yeah.
brakes on all that glitz and glamour?
Well, a few things are happening, actually.
Yeah.
First off, inflation is still stubbornly sticking around.
Ugh, that's never fun.
Not for fashion, not for anyone, really.
Right.
And consumer confidence is taking a bit of a dip.
Or no.
And then you've got the Chinese economy.
Right. Huge player in fashion.
Huge. And it's slowing down.
Yeah.
All of these factors combined are really impacting the industry's growth potential.
So not exactly the runway to riches we might imagine.
Not quite. The report predicts global growth of just 2% to 4% for 2024.
Interesting. So where in the world is fashion performing best?
Well, it's a mixed bag, really. Europe and the U.S. are facing slower growth. Inflation is a major headache there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But there is a silver lining. The report says e-commerce is expected to rebound.
Interesting. So more online shopping sprees.
More online shopping, exactly.
Now what about China? I always feel like they're on the verge of this massive fashion explosion.
They're definitely a force to be reckoned with. Their growth is projected to be between 4% and 6%.
Wow.
Which is actually outpacing both the U.S. and Europe.
So they're really pulling ahead.
They are. Their rising middle class means more people are eager to buy fashion. Plus, the government is actively promoting things like sportswear and outdoor wear.
And that makes sense with what I was reading about consumer spending.
Oh, yeah.
Like U.S. and European shoppers are planning to cut back on apparel spending, but the Chinese are actually planning to spend more.
Wow. That's a huge contrast.
Yeah. Talk about a fashion world divided.
Right? It really highlights the impact of these regional factors on consumer behavior. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Definitely not.
Hmm.
Now, it's not just the economy causing concern. Climate change is a huge issue for fashion, and the report really doesn't sugarcoat that.
No, it doesn't. They're very upfront about the risks involved.
So what kind of impact are we talking about?
Well, the report states that extreme weather could put an estimated $65 billion of apparel exports at risk by 2030.
Wow. That's a staggering number.
It is. It shows that climate change is not just an abstract threat. It's having a real, tangible impact on the fashion industry.
So what can brands and manufacturers actually do about this, besides panicking?
Well, panicking isn't going to help anyone.
True.
They need to start taking action now. The report talks about building resilience into their supply chains.
Okay, so like fashion's version of disaster preparedness.
That's a good way to put it. They need to have backup plans for disruptions, manage inventory carefully to reduce risks, and build strong relationships with suppliers for stability.
Makes sense. So lots of proactive planning involved.
Definitely. It's about thinking ahead and being prepared for the unexpected.
All right, well, speaking of tough decisions, the report also dives into the world of investments and exit strategies, which always feel a bit like high-stakes poker to me.
Oh, yeah. It can definitely feel that way.
So what's the current state of play in the fashion investment game?
Well, since 2018, we've seen an interesting trend. Luxury companies have been outperforming the MSCI World Index, which tracks global stock performance.
Oh, wow. So luxury is where it's at.
It seems that way. Investors are really drawn to luxury brands. They're seen as more resilient during economic downturns.
Right. If you can afford a Birkin bag, a recession probably won't stop you.
Exactly. Luxury shoppers tend to have more disposable income and aren't as affected by economic swings.
Makes sense. But what does this all mean for investors trying to navigate the fashion market?
It's creating a bit of a bottleneck when it comes to selling off investments.
Okay.
The people looking to buy are being super cautious right now.
Oh, really?
They'd rather focus on what they already own instead of taking on new brands, especially non-luxury ones.
So it's a tough market for those looking to sell.
It can be. And then there's the whole IPO dream, taking a company public.
Is that still a viable option?
It's tough. Not many brands reach the size needed for a successful IPO.
Right.
And even when they do, it's not a guaranteed win. The report actually uses Birkenstock as an example.
Oh, interesting. What happened there?
Well, they had their IPO in 2023. Big brand, strong performance, lots of hype. but their stock actually dropped after going public.
Seriously?
Yep. Investors were worried about their long-term growth prospects. It just goes to show that IPO hype doesn't always equal market success.
So even those big names we hear rumors about like Sheins and Skims, they have to convince investors they're more than just trendy names.
Absolutely. They need to prove they have long-term value. Investors are looking for more than just a flash in the pan.
Right, they want to see staying power.
Exactly.
Well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the people at the heart of it all, the consumers.
Yes.
The report highlights some really interesting shifts in how people are shopping and what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Consumer behavior is always evolving.
One trend that caught my eye was vacation mode. Is that what they're calling revenge travel these days?
It's a part of it. People are eager to get back out there and explore the world after being cooped up for so long.
I get it. And that translates into a major travel boom, right?
Oh, yeah. By 2024, global travel is projected to surpass pre-pandemic levels, reaching 110% of what we saw back in 2019.
So everyone's ready for adventure. New adventures, new outfits.
Exactly. It's like a fashion passport to the world.
So how are brands tapping into this travel revival?
They're definitely paying attention. One way is by embracing the bleisure trend.
Leisure?
Leisure think outfits that work for both business meetings and exploring a new city. People want versatility without sacrificing style.
Right. I hate packing anyway, so that's a win-win.
Definitely. Another thing brands are doing is keeping an eye on those up-and-coming travel hotspots.
So like the destinations that are just starting to trend?
Exactly. It's about going beyond the usual tourist traps and offering something unique.
It's a fashion's version of an off-the-beaten-path adventure.
You got it. And then they're also teaming up with travel and hospitality companies,
Oh, cool.
creating these cool experiences that blend travel and fashion.
So like exclusive fashion shows in exotic locations.
Exactly. Or curated shopping experiences as part of a luxury vacation package.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's about selling a lifestyle, an entire experience.
It is. It's so much more than just browsing racks of clothes.
Right. It's about creating a feeling, a connection.
Absolutely. And speaking of changing the game, let's talk about another big shift, the rise of a new kind of influencer.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Forget those perfectly polished images and aspirational lifestyles. Authenticity is in.
So who are these new faces of influence?
Think quirky, humorous, even a little bit vulnerable. They're more relatable, more like your friend sharing their style journey than some unattainable fashion icon.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the report actually highlights Alex Earle as a prime example. She's built a massive following on TikTok, not by being picture perfect, but by just being herself.
It's refreshing, right? In a world of filters and curated feeds, there's something really appealing about that raw, authentic approach.
Absolutely. It's a wake-up call for brands. Follower count isn't everything anymore. It's about finding influencers who genuinely connect with their audience and whose values align with their brand.
So it's about building trust, not just racking up likes.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got vacation mode, the new wave of influencers. What other consumer shift is shaping the fashion landscape? I'm ready for another plot twist.
All right, get ready for Outdoors Reinvented. That techie outdoor wear is officially stylish, and it's showing up everywhere.
I've noticed that. It's like hiking boots and puffer jackets suddenly got a high fashion makeover.
That's a great way to put it. It's being fueled by a couple of things. The Gorpcore trend, which embraces those functional outdoorsy looks, and people's desire for healthier lifestyles after the pandemic. We want clothes that look good and can keep up with our active lives.
Right. No more sacrificing style for functionality.
Exactly. And you see this reflected in what brands are doing. Outdoor brands are launching lifestyle collections,
Oh, cool.
and luxury brands are incorporating technical features into their designs. It's a fashion mashup that's here to stay.
And this trend is even making waves in the resale market, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen some of those prices for certain brands.
The report mentions brands like Salomon Arc'teryx, The North Face. They're all seeing massive growth on resale platforms.
Wow. How much growth are we talking about?
An average of 800% growth in 2023 compared to 2022.
That's insane.
It is. It shows how much people value quality and durability. They're willing to invest in these pieces, even secondhand, because they know they're built to last.
Plus, those brands are known for their sustainability efforts, which is a big draw for today's conscious shoppers.
Oh, definitely. Sustainability is becoming more and more important.
Okay. Are you ready to dive into the world of AI?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
This is where things get really futuristic. I've heard so much about AI in fashion. Is it really going to revolutionize everything from design to marketing?
It has the potential to, but the report actually reveals a surprising disconnect.
Oh, what's that?
73% of fashion executives believe AI is crucial for their companies in 2024.
Okay, so they see the value.
They do,
Yeah.
but only 5% feel equipped to actually use it effectively.
So it's like they know it's important but aren't quite sure how to handle it.
It's a bit like giving your grandma an iPhone.
Uh-huh. I love that analogy.
She knows it's cool, but not quite sure what all the buttons do.
Right. So there's a bit of a learning curve there.
Definitely. But let's talk about what AI can do.
Okay.
For fast fashion, it can speed up the design process, churning out tons of new designs based on data trends.
So it plays right into fast fashion's need for constant newness.
Exactly. But for luxury brands, AI is more of a creative partner helping designers experiment and push boundaries. It's like having a digital brainstorming buddy.
Interesting. So it's not about AI taking over, but about humans and AI working together.
That's the key takeaway. The report emphasizes that human curation is still crucial. AI is a tool to enhance creativity, not replace it.
Whew. That's a relief. I'm not quite ready for robots to design my wardrobe.
I hear you. It's about finding that balance between human ingenuity and technological advancements.
Right. So it sounds like AI is a game changer, but one that still needs some fine-tuning before it takes center stage.
Exactly. It's a rapidly evolving field with a lot of potential, but there are still challenges to overcome.
Well, this has been a fascinating look at what's shaping the fashion industry in 2024. We've covered so much ground, from economic outlooks to consumer trends and even the rise of AI.
We've only just scratched the surface.
But there's so much more to explore.
There is. In part 2 of our deep dive, we'll be talking all about sustainability and those new regulations that are pushing the industry to be more eco-conscious.
Sounds like a must listen. So be sure to tune in for part 2 of our deep dive into the world of fashion in 2024.
You see you there.
Welcome back. We're diving deeper into the state of fashion 2024 and exploring the forces shaping the industry. We talked economics, travel trends, even AI's impact on design. But now, let's get serious about something that's top of mind for many: sustainability.
It really is. And it's not just a buzzword anymore. It's a fundamental shift. The pressure is on for fashion to clean up its act. And it's not just coming from consumers either.
So it's not just brands wanting to look good. There are actual rules coming into play.
You got it. New regulations are popping up, especially in the EU, and they're going to have a major impact on how fashion companies do business.
Okay, so give me the highlights. What kind of rules are we talking about?
One of the biggest is the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products Regulation, or ESPR.
ESPR.
Yeah, it's setting minimum standards for all products sold in the EU by 2025.
So not just fashion.
Nope, everything. It's about making products more sustainable throughout their entire life cycle, from the materials used to how easily they can be recycled or repaired.
Wow, that's a big deal. What else is shaking things up on the regulation front?
Well, there's also the Green Claims Directive. This one is all about fighting greenwashing.
Okay, so no more vague, feel-good statements.
Exactly. Companies will actually have to back up their eco-friendly claims with hard evidence.
I like it. No more hiding behind clever marketing. So these EU regulations sound pretty strict. Do you think they'll influence what happens outside of Europe?
They're definitely expected to have a global ripple effect. A lot of the EU's textiles are made in Asia, so those manufacturers will need to adapt to comply with these new standards.
So it's a wake-up call for the entire industry, not just European brands.
Exactly. And we're seeing similar initiatives popping up in other parts of the world too. Like the US is considering the New York Fashion Sustainability and Social Accountability Act.
What does that one do?
It would hold big brands accountable for their impact on both the environment and society. It's a sign that things are changing everywhere.
Okay, so sustainability is clearly non-negotiable.
Yeah.
What are the big areas fashion companies need to focus on?
One of the most crucial is traceability.
Okay, now remind me what that means.
Basically knowing exactly where materials come from and how products are made, every step of the way. Imagine being able to follow a garment's journey from the cotton field to your closet.
That sounds incredibly complex. Are
Yeah.
brands really able to track all of that?
It's a challenge, but technology is helping. Blockchain, for example, is being used to create more transparent and efficient tracking systems. It's like a digital trail that follows a garment's journey so everyone involved can see what's happening.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about the actual making of clothes? That seems like a huge area for improvement.
It is. Decarbonizing production is essential, finding more sustainable materials, using renewable energy in factories, making the entire manufacturing process less energy intensive.
So it's about rethinking the whole system, from the raw materials to the energy used in factories.
It's a fashion industry makeover, but for the planet.
I like that. And then there's the design itself. The report says that up to 80% of a product's environmental impact is decided at the design stage.
That's right. It's a huge factor.
Wow, I had no idea it was that much.
It is, and that's where the idea of circularity comes in.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It's all about designing clothes that are durable, repairable, and ultimately recyclable. It's about moving away from that fast fashion mindset of wearing something a few times and then tossing it.
So clothes that are built to last and can be given a second life, not end up in a landfill.
Exactly. It's about making fashion more sustainable in every sense of the word.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears a bit. We've talked about how sustainability is reshaping the industry, but there's another challenge that keeps coming back, and it's been especially tough lately: supply chain disruption.
Oh, yeah. The dreaded bullwhip effect. Remember when we couldn't find anything in stores? It felt like the entire supply chain was in chaos.
That's exactly what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Those small fluctuations in demand can create huge waves of disruption upstream.
And the fashion industry has been hit hard in recent years, right?
Oh, yeah. The pandemic, inflation, economic uncertainty. It's been a roller coaster ride for retailers and manufacturers alike.
The report says that factories operating at full capacity in 2021 saw a 30% to 40% drop by 2023.
It's a huge swing. It shows how interconnected the fashion system is. When one part gets disrupted, everyone feels the impact.
So how do we deal with this? How do we make the supply chain more resilient?
Communication and transparency are key rands. Retailers and suppliers need to work together more closely, sharing information and predicting demand more accurately.
So it's about breaking down those walls between different parts of the supply chain and getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. It's also about building stronger, more long-term relationships with suppliers. This can give them the stability to invest in improvements, both in terms of efficiency and sustainability. It's about building a more reliable, ethical, and resilient fashion ecosystem.
Sounds like a win-win for everyone involved. Now, despite all these challenges, economic uncertainty, climate change, supply chain issues, the report says the fashion industry is still attracting investors.
It is. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Why is that?
Well, even with those headwinds, fashion is still expected to stay profitable in 2023. And the driving force behind this is, you guessed it, luxury.
Of course, luxury always seems to weather the storm.
Right. High-end brands cater to a clientele that's less affected by economic ups and downs. And they're also masters at creating desire and exclusivity, which keeps those sales coming in.
So it's not just about the products themselves, but the whole aura of luxury.
It's a lifestyle. It's an aspiration.
The report mentions the McKinsey Global Fashion Index, which tracks the performance of top fashion companies. What are some of the key takeaways there?
It shows that the top 20 companies, what they call the super winners, are actually increasing their profits even as others struggle.
So it's the fashion version of the rich get richer.
You could say that.
So who are these fashion titans?
No surprise. LVMH, the luxury goods giant, takes the top spot. But sportswear is also doing incredibly well, with Nike and Adidas holding their own. And then, of course, there are those iconic luxury names like Hermes and Kering.
So it's a mix of luxury and athleisure dominating the fashion landscape.
Exactly. Reflecting the trends we discussed earlier, like the vacation mode, focus on comfortable, versatile clothing and the enduring allure of high-end labels.
Right? So those companies who understand and adapt to consumer desires are the ones who come out on top.
Absolutely. It's all about staying ahead of the curve and giving people what they want.
But what about those companies that aren't super winners? What are their options in this challenging environment?
The report suggests that many of them are at a crossroads. They need to innovate, find ways to stand out in a crowded market, and appeal to a new generation of shoppers who are more discerning and demanding than ever before.
It sounds like a make or break moment for a lot of brands.
It is. And as we head into part 3 of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the specific strategies companies are using to navigate this complex landscape. From embracing new marketing approaches to highlighting the people behind the brand, there are some fascinating innovations happening.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the future of fashion. We've covered a lot of ground: the global economic outlook, the growing importance of sustainability, those roller coaster supply chains.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. But now let's shift gears and talk about the strategies brands are using to thrive in this ever-changing landscape. The report highlighted some pretty innovative approaches to marketing and branding.
It's fascinating to see how things are evolving. After years of focusing on performance marketing, those targeted ads and data-driven campaigns, we're seeing a return to the power of brand building.
So it's less about quick clicks and conversions and more about creating that lasting connection.
Exactly. With the costs of digital advertising skyrocketing and all those new privacy regulations limiting data collection, brands need to find more meaningful ways to engage their audience. It's about building trust and loyalty, not just chasing fleeting clicks.
It makes sense. People are bombarded with ads all the time.
Huh.
How do you cut through the noise and actually make a brand stand out?
Storytelling is key. Brands are rediscovering the power of sharing their values, their heritage, their vision for the future, giving people a reason to believe in the brand, not just buy its products.
The report mentioned some great examples of brands that successfully revamped their image through strategic brand marketing. Any that stand out to you?
Hugo Boss is a great example. They
Yeah.
wanted to shape things up and appeal to a younger, more fashion-forward audience.
Right. How do they go about it?
They launched a major rebranding campaign, differentiating their Hugo line, which targets Gen Z, from their Boss line, which is more for millennials.
So it's like giving each brand its own personality.
Exactly. They updated their logo, enlisted high-profile ambassadors like Hailey Bieber, and hosted these immersive events that brought their new streetwear-influenced aesthetic to life. It's about creating an experience, a feeling, a lifestyle that people want to be a part of.
I love that. It's not just selling clothes, it's selling an idea, an aspiration.
Right. And Ermenegildo Zegna Group, Italian luxury menswear brand, did something similar. They streamlined their branding and collaborated with the luxury streetwear label Fear of God to attract a younger, more fashion-conscious crowd.
So blending their heritage of tailoring with a more modern street-style sensibility.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between tradition and trendiness.
So besides storytelling, what are some other tools brands are using to build those lasting connections?
Putting the spotlight on the people behind the brand, the founder, the creative director, the artisans who make the clothes. Humanizing the brand, showing the passion, the skill, the creativity.
It's like saying, hey, we're real people who care about what we do.
Exactly. And social media is the perfect platform for this. It's not just about posting pretty pictures. It's about using video behind-the-scenes content, live events, giving people a glimpse into the world of the brand.
Creating engaging content that sparks conversation.
Exactly, building community.
I've also noticed a lot of brands doing these cross-industry collaborations these days. It seems like everyone's teaming up.
It's a great way to reach new audiences and generate buzz. We're seeing fashion brands partnering with musicians, filmmakers, athletes,
Yeah.
even tech companies. It's about creating those unexpected, exciting moments that get people talking.
Like LVMH sponsoring the 2024 Olympics in Paris.
Exactly. A chance to showcase their brands on a global stage, aligning themselves with the values of athleticism, excellence, cultural heritage.
It's a win-win.
Definitely. It's fascinating to see how fashion marketing is becoming more creative and strategic. It's not just about selling products anymore. It's about building a brand that people connect with on an emotional level.
Right. Building that trust.
Absolutely.
Now, the report also dives into some company-specific case studies, which I always find really insightful.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
They offer such a great glimpse into how different companies are approaching these challenges.
One that stood out to me was McKinsey, a South Korean fashion retailer that's gaining global recognition.
Oh, yeah. They're doing some really interesting things.
They've built this incredible ecosystem that supports emerging Korean fashion brands and connects them with Gen Z consumers around the world.
Tapping into the popularity of K-fashion and K-culture, it's a global phenomenon.
It really is. And they're doing it through a clever blend of online and offline initiatives. They have that robust e-commerce platform, but they also host events like McKinsey Season Preview.
Right, where customers can see and provide feedback on upcoming collections.
So smart, it builds hype and gets people excited.
Exactly. It creates this community of fashion lovers who feel invested in the success of these brands.
And of course, they're leveraging the star power of K-pop idols and cultural icons to promote Korean fashion to a wider audience.
It's a brilliant marketing strategy. They're riding that K-wave, and it seems to be working.
It really does. Another case study that caught my eye was Dior, the legendary French luxury house.
Ah, Dior. They've managed to stay true to their heritage of haute couture while also evolving to meet the demands of today's luxury consumer.
It's a tough balancing act. How do you stay relevant without losing that sense of history and craftsmanship?
Dior has been very strategic about it. They've invested heavily in brand storytelling, creating immersive experiences that bring their history and savoir-faire to life, like their Designer of Dreams exhibition.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
It's traveled the world, showcasing iconic designs and highlighting Dior's legacy. It's like stepping into the world of Dior.
Experiencing the magic firsthand.
Exactly. And they've also embraced new technologies and digital platforms to reach those younger consumers. They've been incredibly successful on social media, especially in China.
So they're really covering all their bases.
They are. Whether it's a cutting-edge e-retailer like McKinsey or a heritage brand like Dior, the key takeaway seems to be that success requires a deep understanding of your audience, a commitment to innovation, and a willingness to embrace new ways of engaging with consumers.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the State of Fashion 2024. We've explored the trends, the challenges, the innovations, the strategies that are shaping the fashion world.
It's been a fantastic exploration.
It has. But ultimately, it's up to each of us to decide how we want to participate in this ever-evolving industry.
As consumers, as creators, as innovators.
So what role do you envision playing in the future of fashion? It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on this stylish journey. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, stay curious and stay fashionable.
See you next time.